Hi everyone, Vanessa here, and you're welcome to the very first episode of the LTVplus podcast. So let's talk about CX. I have a very special guest here with me to launch the LTV podcast today. We have Mrs. Vianca. So happy to have you on board today, Mrs. Vianca.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with you today.
Awesome. Mrs. Vianca has over 10 years in managerial positions, and she started working with LTV slightly over 2 years ago now. And yeah, she has so much experience. So she's here to tell us the secret sauce that CX managers need to just make everyone happy and make great relationships. So I'll just hand it over to you, Ms. Vianca, to do a little intro about your work experience so far.
Oh, I see. So I've been happily working in LTVplus since March of 2022. I initially joined as a junior team leader, and after about a year, I was promoted to a team lead. And then a few months after, I was promoted again to become the senior team lead, which is my current role. So I've been managing campaigns directly myself. And I've had to take care of other campaigns or other TLs with their respective campaigns. So overall, there are about 17 leads in my cluster. And under those team leads, there's a total of 25 campaigns and 108 agents. So the performance of these campaigns and these agents would really rely on the leadership of the team leads that are in my cluster.
108 agents sounds like a whole lot. I can't begin to imagine how you manage all of that. So maybe you could walk us through your day-to-day. What's a day-to-day like in the life of CX managers such as yourself, a senior team lead manager, for that matter?
Okay, I'd be happy to do that with you. So at the beginning of the day, of course, I go ahead and check the chats that I have. So I log in. We have PD. We use Time Doctor here in LTVplus. After I log in, I do check my chat so that I can announce to everyone that I'm on duty. If you need any help, I'm right here. Saying good morning to the respective work groups that would need to be said hello to. And then after, I go ahead and check out the emails, just to see if there's anything important or urgent that I need to address. And if there are none, then I go to my usual, which is checking up on the attendance of the team leads and also the agents, and then checking on the recent performance or the end-of-day reports of our team leads, just so you can get familiarized with what has happened to them the previous day, and we have something to talk about during our one-on-ones. One-on-one sessions happen every week, so I either have coaching sessions with an agent or a team leader, and I do time blocking, so most of my coachings would happen every Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then the rest of the weeks the rest of the day are reserved for meetings, client meetings, and other interactions that I would have with the stakeholders. So overall, it's really day-to-day management of how everyone is performing, starting from their attendance up to how they're measuring up to the targets that are given to us by the title.
Wow, that sounds so amazing. So would you say you have any, because to me right now, Mrs. Vianca is sounding like you're a superhero Wonder Woman that just manages to get everything done and make sure everyone is okay with their work. But what quality would you say makes a great CX manager? What are some of your best qualities?
Okay, yeah. In general, I think what would make you the best or a good CX manager would be the fact that you're able to balance that your people first, or being there for everyone that reports to you, your partners, and also being able to balance that with accountability or having them own it. Because if you have a good balance between those two, managing the performance and managing the growth and development of your people becomes a breeze.
So accountability is definitely something that is a top quality for customer support managers. You say this is also something that helps you strengthen the relationships between clients and customer support managers as well?
Of course. I honestly think that having accountability also builds that relationship that you have with the clients, also because they are rest assured that no matter what the performance is, you know how to hold your people accountable. You know how to hold your team leads and your agents accountable. And that gives them an assurance, that gives them the comfort of knowing that things will really go well when you know how to hold your people and have them accountable to their actions.
Are there any other tips you can suggest that could help strengthen the relationship between stakeholders, the agents, and the client stakeholders as well?
Yeah, of course. I think what really matters most when it comes to having a relationship with the clients, a strong relationship, as you have mentioned. But first would be consistent, amazing performance. Because if the performance is spot on, if the performance of the team is spot on, that allows you as the manager and the client to talk about other things as well. You can talk about, sometimes we end up talking about a bit of their personal side, and then what it's like to grow the campaign and having forward actions being discussed. So if the performance is consistently amazing, then that puts them in a very comfortable position, and they know that they are well taken care of. Another would be, strong relationship with your internal stakeholders. Because one reason that you'll be able to have consistent, amazing performance as a team or as a campaign would be if you have that strong relationship with your partners, like your quality partners, your training partners, the workforce team. Every department matters in the success of your campaign. So having that good relationship with them allows you to manage your campaigns smoothly. Therefore, there's going to be better performance for everyone. And lastly, I think to be successful in number one, the consistent, amazing performance that I was talking about, and also building strong relationship with your stakeholders, would be listening and empathizing. That's very important. You have to listen to what your customers are saying. Your customers being your clients, the customers being your partners in the management of the campaign. So listening and empathizing really helps, because that's the only way for you to understand where to take the campaign or where to drive the performance of your teams.
Hey, listening is very important, I think that's definitely a major quality of customer support in general, and empathizing as well. Because honestly, there can be difficult customers, and because I can imagine. So dealing with that, you definitely have to be empathetic just towards what the customer is going through and everything. So let's take it a little bit internal. So can you share some highlights or maybe tidbits of anything your team might have experienced or overcome, any kind of challenges for maybe customer support team leaders out there that are looking for some kind of inspo or dealing with the same thing?
So I guess I'll share the most recent, which would be our experience with one of our campaigns that handles ammunition. So this particular campaign, in one of the client meetings that we had with them, they mentioned or highlight that our productivity was far off from the productivity of our onshore counterpart. So they were saying that we were lagging behind as an LTVplus team compared to their teams or their agents in the US. So our attention was called to that. And gladly, within about 3 weeks, we were able to improve and increase productivity of our LTVplus agents. And this has made the clients really happy, to the point that commendations were provided. They started calling our agents rock stars. So that was really one recent proud moment for me. And I did share that in our appreciation for group. So I was very happy with the achievement.
Productivity is kind of a tricky slope, right? Because I think also don't want to increase, have your customer support staff burnouts. So how are you able to, increase productivity while still keeping the positive spirits and positive energy of the team?
Well, that would really depend on how you relay the challenge to the agents. But you want to make sure that we don't make it seem like they're lacking. that. You know,
Right.
when an issue or a challenge like that comes up, what's important is that you rally them towards the challenge that you can do better. Instead of pointing out or saying that, you're lagging behind as you're not doing enough, you're not enough. You know, we don't want to emphasize these things to our agents or our team. So you relay the message through a challenge that would motivate them and keep them from aspiring to do more. So in this particular case with this particular campaign, what we did was to post the challenge and we showed them the current numbers of the onshore team. And we just said, close the gap. Here's the challenge. These are the numbers that they're reaching right now. How close can we get to it? Will we get to a zero? You know, how long can you guys make that happen? Involving them in the challenge really made a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a fun team to be in. I would want to be part of that team that gets the challenge done and manages to, just overcome that. So that's a really great tip. Are there any other tips you would have for just to keep teams motivated and engaged in the process and, just loving to come to work every day? Because customer support isn't an easy job, but just being able to love going to work every single day.
Yes, I agree with you. It's not an easy job, and customer service burnout does happen. Day in, day out, you're assisting customers, so you're going to have something to look forward to in each of the day. And I guess as a leader, something that I emphasize with the team leaders that are in my cluster, again, would be to listen and to empathize. Understand what it's like to be your agents. And one good thing here in LTVplus is most of our current team leads right now were former agents. So we have encouraged internal growth. And in that aspect, when I say empathize and try to understand what it's like to be an agent, they know for a fact what we mean by that. And it's something amazing. And when you're able to listen to your agents and to empathize with what they're going through, and that allows you to motivate them sincerely because you're hearing them and you're not just hearing them, you're actually listening to things that they say, and even their nonverbal cues are very important. Yes. Yeah. So listening and empathizing with your agents, watching out for their growth, making sure that there's a development plan that's in store. There's growth that you foresee for them as they work hard each and every day. I think that keeps them motivated and engaged. And also, just bottom line, having their best intentions in mind is what's going to help you motivate and engage them.
Awesome. And once again, I'm just bringing it back because I think your growth so far is just amazing. For those who didn't hear me earlier, Mrs. Vianca has been with us for 2 years. And she started as a junior team lead, and she's now one of the senior team leads at LTVplus, which is just amazing. So I was just wondering, would you have what piece of advice would you give someone that is, currently trying to grow in their career as a customer support agent?
Well, one thing that I would often say is to keep your main things the main things. It's something that I've learned in one leadership book. If I may mention, it's Monday Morning Leadership. So Monday morning. Keep the main things your main things. As you do your job, as there would be distraction, there would be urgent matters that would come up, that of course you would have to address, but it shouldn't let you lose sight of what your main thing is, which is to develop your agents, to develop your team leaders. So if you're a senior team leader, focus is to ensure that your team leaders grow, and every coaching session counts towards their growth, which should also reflect in how they are coaching their agents and creating that development plan for the agents that are under them or in their clusters. Keeping your main things the main thing is an important part. And in relation to what I said earlier, I think a good tip would be to balance. So when we're talking about balancing accountability and people first, it's good to be nurturing, but also be able to hold them accountable. Because what we need to understand is that when someone makes a mistake and you don't coach them to it, or you don't hold them accountable to it, you're also teaching them something. Not holding someone accountable is also teaching someone another lesson there, right? So you should be nurturing, but at the same time, if this is wrong, this is wrong. Let's acknowledge what has happened, and then let's identify the things that we need to do to be able to move forward. So that's just another tip that I have, or something that I share with the seniors. And then lastly, be present. If this coaching session is for you, the next 30 minutes of my time will be for you. I will be present for you. I'll try my best not to be distracted by the messages that I see in my chat, in the different work groups. And if you're a senior team lead, you're almost in all of the work groups. So there's going to be notifications every now and then. So be present, and to be concrete or to be exact, be present during coaching sessions. And yeah, I guess those three things would be my biggest.
And you also mentioned coaching and mentoring, right? So you do this about twice a week in your schedule. And what would you say works as a coach, being a coach or a mentor? What comes off as not too aggressive or too standoffish, but also, impact the person that you're coaching or mentoring? What's your biggest lessons on leadership so far?
So when it comes to that, I think knowing who you're coaching is very important. So that's when being present comes to play. Being present not only entails at that particular time or the 30 minutes that you're coaching with them. You have to be present throughout, so that even outside of coaching, that you're still teaching them something. So I think that's going to be very helpful when it comes to coaching your agents or your teams.
And what would you say is your favorite part about working in customer experience or working at LTVplus specifically? Because we're a little biased, we know, but just your favorite parts about everything.
Yeah, I am a little bit biased because for the first time in a very long time, I'm very lucky to be in a company right now where the core values aligns with my personal values. So I'd say our core values is my favorite part of being at LTVplus. And what do you call this? Embodying the different core values is how I like to live my everyday. So when I'm at work, it feels good, I don't have to be anyone else that I wouldn't like. I like who I am when I'm working. I like who I'm going to be while working at LTVplus, and that's a big thing for me, and that's a good thing, I think, for anyone who's in the customer service industry. Having your core values you can anchor to.
Yeah, honestly, it's a big thing for me. It got me a little emotional as well. But yeah, I completely understand that as well, because that's something I definitely, also relate with working here. So it's great that you also have that experience, how you can share that. Rounding up, it's been such a great session, Mrs. Vianca. But what would you say, your top 3 advice for CX managers that are looking to build long-term success?
First is the basic thing, which is to do good. Do good to people, do good at your job. Don't do anything that you don't want anyone doing to you. I think that's a basic thing, like the golden rule, and you can apply it at work as well. So that's number 1. And second, there will be challenges as a CX manager. You will face challenges, definitely. There's no way around it. I think it's best that you acknowledge this challenge, and then after acknowledging, eliminate blame, because blaming doesn't get you anywhere. Focus right away on what needs to be done. How can we turn things around and move forward?
We'll just on that.